Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're diving into the 10-star KIZUNA clash versus WAPOL for the 6+ of Wano lore. And in today's video, 10th anniversary legends are the name of the game. We're not using Chopper as a friend captain. Hopefully, these particular teams will be able to help you guys out to take down the 10-star events. As mentioned, we are not utilizing Chopper as a friend captain. I will have a video out for that a little bit later. But in today's video, we are prioritizing the anniversary Super Sugo Fest exclusive characters. And Shanks is going to be our friend captain for every single one of these teams that you guys see here, because he's just so good for every single one of these fights. It's just absolutely insane how good he is. It's wild. But starting it off, what variation are we doing? We're doing the Psy variation first. Starting off with the Psy variation. Driven, Powerhouse, and Cerebral characters, I believe. Oh, it's Driven, Slasher, and Cerebral. So I was way off. Driven, Slasher, Cerebral get all the good stuff. On stage 2, there's 5 turns of Paralysis, whole bunch of Pain for 7 turns, and 1 turn of Special Reverse. After level 30, which all these teams are designed for, you're going to have to deal with an 85% HP cut, 5 turns of Bind on your top row, full immunity except for Paralysis, normal attacks only, and attack down if you're below 3.5 times Chain, 5 turns of Defense up, and an Intimidation for 2 turns for any attack or slot effect boost by 2 turns. If you set the chain multiplier as well for an unlimited amount of times, you get 5 turns of attack down, a full board of ball mobs, lose your beneficial effects, and on defeat, there is going to be 50,000 damage. Yeah, that's a lot. It's a lot of damage. A lot of damage, especially because up here, you take 85% HP cut. But the team's led by Luffy, our boy, Monkey D. Luffy, the Gear 5 Extravaganza, and then obviously we are utilizing, like I said, Shanks as our friend captain. The reason we're using this guy as captain is because we actually get access to his Super EX, which will actually turn Shanks into a, into a fighter unit, so that way you can actually have Shanks hitting very, very hard, or you can use Shanks to turn Luffy into a Cerebral character, because the entire team, besides Blackbeard down the bottom there, who would also turn into a Cerebral character because he's a powerhouse, all this team is actually Cerebral. So on turn 2, we are actually going to use the Nami from the Uta Celebration. She's exceptional because she can actually give you a 1 turn of cooldown, 5 turns of paralysis removal, and she gives you a chain boost on turn 2, which then carry into the next stage as well. It's just very, very nice. To remove the pain, we have Shirahoshi and Mancherry V1. They're great at removing 10 turns of any debuff, which is awesome. Plus, they do a monster heal. Remember, on the final stage, you are going to get an 85% HP cut. So, what you can actually do here is you can actually save this and then utilize it on the final stage. That way, you don't have to worry about that 50,000 death hit. However, we have a bunch of other healers on this particular team, so you don't actually, it's up to you how you want to go about it. We are going to use the Blackbeard special on turn 2 as well. Blackbeard, as long as your captain is Powerhouse or Driven, gives you a chain boundary, and then as long as you get 2 perfects, he's going to give you a chain boundary on the final stage. Now remember, Shanks doesn't boost Luffy, and Luffy doesn't boost Shanks. So they're your 2 best characters to tap your perfects with. That's just going to be easier for you guys. Basically, as long as you use Blackbeard and Nami on turn 2, you guys will be absolutely fine because you can just take care of basically everything. Remember, the anniversary ship is still buffed, so you just have every single orb under the sun available for you guys. And if you really, really want to, you can actually use the Luffy special here to get 3 turns of an attack boost if you guys are really struggling for damage. But ideally, you just want to use Nami, you just want to use Blackbeard. On the final stage, we're going to use the Shanks Super EX to remove the Intimidation. Removing the Intimidation means that we just have free reigns to use attack boosting and orb boosting, which is absolutely great. Luffy is going to be our attack booster for the team. Shanks' EX gives us an orb buff. Shanks' special can give color affinity, as well as Luffy's EX can give us color affinity, and then Shanks can actually give us chain boundary. Honestly, you could probably use Shanks now that I'm thinking about it. You can use Shanks on stage 2, but using Luffy and Shanks together means that Luffy buffs the orb buff, Shanks buffs the attack buff, and then Shanks becomes your color affinity booster. That's sort of how I would do it. Finally, we have Shirahoshi Mancherry for a bunch of healing, remove the pain, and you have Jinbei to remove the defense up. Jinbei also does some healing. He has the Super Tandem ability, which is great because it's a free-to-play Super Tandem. And that way you can just sort of channel that in to Luffy for a bit of like a monster final tap. So that's the team. Works fairly nicely. Moving on to quick variation now. Once again, we are using Shanks as friend captain, but this time, we're utilizing Ace as our captain. Just like you guys saw, though, you could flick them around if you want to. Ideally, this one will work better to flick them around if you guys don't have Ace. Where if you guys don't have Luffy, like, you're going to have to replace Blackbeard. But, free Spirit, Cerebral Powers, get all the good stuff. On stage 2, you get 5 turns of bind on your left-hand side after sockets. You get, a full bottle recovery orbs turn to damage, and 3 turns of hunger. Very annoying stuff. After level 30, you get 4 turns of special limit use of 2 times, 3 turns of crewmate silence, 5 turns of a 1.1 attack and orb boost, and a 0.1 chain multiplier buff. Very annoying. Full immunity except for delay, 1 turn of defense up, normal attacks only, special reverse on your captain. What's that? 3 turns maybe? You get a 90% attack down if you're below 3 times chain multiplier. And then there is an intimidation once again for 2 times for conditional boosts and type effect boosts. If you delay the enemy, you take 7 turns of paralysis, and the enemy will remove the attack down below a certain chain multiplier, the attack buff, and the slot buff. So it's actually a good thing if you delay, as long as you can remove the paralysis. However, we're not doing that. just like my accessible and buildable teams, we're pretty much just utilizing everything on stage 2. It just works a little bit nicer. We're gonna bypass the attack boost with the Luffy special, but before that, we're actually going to super swap with Robin and Koala, utilize the Robin and Koala special, so that way you get 3 turns of their orb buff on turn 2, and then you can just sort of carry that into the next stage. The Intimidation will still hit their color affinity, but that's okay because we're going to be utilizing Shanks. We're using Zoro on turn 2 as well to bypass the chain multiplier buff, so that way you get 3 turns of Zoro's chain buff. Plus with his limit break, you actually can use his special once again, and you can remove the extra turn of defense up. We're then utilizing Luffy here. Luffy is going to work exceptionally well to bypass the attack buff that the enemy gives. He gives you an attack and an orb boost on special. If you have that, he does some other stuff, but we're utilizing him here for the 2-turn attack buff, and then we can just move into the final stage. On the final stage, we can use the EX of Ace to get an attack buff and turn the entire team into well, everyone's already buffed under Ace, but he can actually turn characters into shooters. However, we also have a Roger on the team and a Luffy, so we can actually use Shanks to turn Ace into a cerebral character. So that's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to use Shanks' EX to turn Ace into a cerebral. We're going to remove the Intimidation, which is awesome. So then that way we can actually use the Ace's attack boost. We already have an orb buff. We can use Shanks' color affinity, and then we can use Ace as a conditional boost too, which works out really nicely. Fortunately, we're not going to have any super crazy stuff with chain. We have Zoro obviously, but I did include this particular Roger as another defense up option. If you guys have Anniversary Roger, I would definitely use him. He's also another defense up remover. You can definitely use him, but I just thought I'd include just a bit more of an accessible option. Moving on to the final variation now, we are going to be utilizing double Shanks, and this is where I don't feel bad about saying, look, Shanks is going to be your friend captain for this, because I'm going off the understanding that you guys would actually have Shanks yourself. On turn 1, Sight, Int, and Dex characters get all the good stuff. On turn 2, you get 3 turns of Super Burn, a full board of bomb slots, a slot barrier for 2 bomb slots, and then you take 30,000 damage on defeat, which is a little bit annoying. After level 31, there's going to be a 50% HP cut, 6 turns of bind on your left-hand column after sockets, 1 turn of special reverse on your captains. Healing gets turned to damage. You get poisoned for 3,000 per character. Full board of poison slots. The enemy is immune to everything except paralysis. Your top row gets 6 turns of despair after sockets. 1 turn of paralysis, normal attacks only. And then if you remove the poison but below 50% HP still, you are going to take 8 turns of bind, or 5 turns after sockets. And then you also have to deal with resilience. So as you can see, there's a lot going on. But for this, we are utilizing double Shanks. Double Shanksy boy. Really nice stuff with double Shanks. I actually need to adjust this particular team because, unfortunately, there is a heal convert to damage, which I completely overlooked. If you use Chopper on the final stage to remove the poison, you will be below 50,000 HP because of that HP cut, as well as the 30,000 damage on death. it's unfortunately it's inevitable. Like, you just have to tank it. I do have Bok Punch and Monster here. They are going to be our Super EX trigger. Plus, they give you 3 turns of a chain boost, which is really, really nice. Ideally, we're going to use one of our Shanks specials on turn 2 to just bypass the barriers and the bombs and all that fun stuff. And then use our other Shanks on the final stage. So that way we get the chain boundary shenanigans. Once we use Chopper, we're going to remove the poison. We're going to get end of turn healing. The heal conversion to damage is going to go away. But soon as that happens, the enemy is going to blind our sailors and then is going to put up the resilience, which unfortunately we actually don't have a way around with this particular team. So if you guys have the Momo support, you could just slap Momo on any attack boosting Luffy, because you do still want to bring a Luffy for the Shanks EX. So I put Luffy Sanji here. The idea was to use Luffy Sanji first to heal and then use Chopper, but the healing converted to damage kind of cucks me there. So you'll have to do something that looks a little bit like this instead. You can use Gear 5 6+. That's going to obviously be way better than Luffy Sanji. But hey, let's just go in with the assumption you guys don't have 6+ Gear 5 for whatever crazy reason. Finally, we got Nami. Nami's Sailor ability removes paralysis by 1 turn. Plus, she has a conditional against paralysis as long as you have a Luffy on the team. So that works out really, really nicely as well. So with this particular team, you have a chain boost, chain boundary, color affinity. Shanks' EX gives you an orb buff. You have an attack buff with Zoro and Sanji. Luffy Sanji. And you have a conditional boost with Nami. So you have a bunch of buffs there, and it should work out pretty nicely. But hopefully these teams help you guys. If it does, make sure to go down there, like button for me, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Best of luck in KIZUNA. Make sure you're using the suicide strat and using your alliance members to your advantage, because it does help you guys out a great deal. But most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's